Just came out of a 90-minute meeting that absolutely 100% could have been an email.
Truly?
And get this, we actually scheduled a follow-up meeting to summarize this one.
Unbelievable.
Research shows that professionals now spend 11.3 hours per week in meetings. And here's what's crazy. 61% of people admit they waste time in those meetings. That's almost an entire workday every single week where you're sitting in conference rooms or staring at Zoom screens instead of actually doing your work. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to cut your meeting time in half. So if you're tired of back-to-back meetings, this is going to change everything. Can you relate to this? You open your calendar on Monday morning and it's already a disaster.
Okay, just look at this. Seriously, today alone, 3 status update meetings, a project kickoff, and another follow-up meeting to discuss the meeting we had last week. And when exactly am I supposed to do any actual work? When am I supposed to, work that matters?
And here's what actually happens. You arrive at the first meeting. Someone asks a question.
But to answer that question, I need input from Michael, who isn't here.
So you schedule another meeting. During that meeting, someone realizes,
oh, I need to check something with the team before we can continue the meeting.
Another meeting. By Wednesday, you've added 5 more meetings to discuss the work instead of actually doing it. And let me tell you what really happens in these meetings. About 30 to 40% of the time is spent with people saying,
can you repeat this?
Or,
oh man, so sorry I'm late. What'd I miss?
They're multitasking in other meetings or trying to answer emails. The research backs this up, and it's insane. The number of meetings has tripled since 2020. Professionals are now spending over a quarter of their work week in meetings. And
by the way, before we give our answer, let's talk money.
Meetings are costing companies $29,000 per employee per year in wasted time. But here's the deeper issue. Every time you jump from a task to a meeting, then back to your task, your brain needs time to refocus. Research shows that even brief context switches reduce your efficiency by up to 40%. So you're not just losing the time in the meeting itself, you're losing the time before and after your brain tries to figure out what you were working on. And when 78% of people say,
and when exactly am I supposed to do any actual work?
We are not dealing with a scheduling problem. We are dealing with a broken communication system that treats synchronous interruption as the default way teams collaborate. So here's why this happens. Most teams operate on what I call interrupt-driven communication.
Attention everyone, hello. Yes.
Someone has a question, they immediately reach out. Someone needs discussion, they schedule a meeting. It feels efficient because you get an instant response, but your brain doesn't work that way. Research from cognitive psychology shows that deep, meaningful work requires sustained focus. When you're constantly switching between tasks and meetings, you're operating in what's called shallow work mode. You're busy, but you're not productive. And here's what makes this even worse. Every meeting creates more meetings. I saw this firsthand managing teams in a 300,000 employee company. The real issue is that most teams don't have a systematic way to communicate asynchronously. They rely on meetings because they don't trust that information will flow without everyone sitting in a room together.
In my experience, it's best to look a person in the eye and deliver the information with warmth and compassion.
But when you build the right infrastructure, what we call the team communication system in ICOR, you create an environment where people can work independently while staying completely aligned. Research shows that teams who successfully implement asynchronous communication protocols see massive productivity gains, not because people work more hours, but because they work better hours. Here's the solution that will cut your meetings in half. First, establish your communication channels protocol. Before anyone on your team reaches out to a colleague, they follow this specific sequence. Email or project management comments first. Messaging second. Phone calls third. And in-person or video meetings last. Here's how it works. Email or comments in your project management system should be your default. These allow team members to add full context without interrupting anyone. That's important. Your team agrees on a response time frame, let's say 12 to 24 hours. This gives everyone peace of mind knowing their request will be handled without needing a meeting. If something generally needs a faster response, then you move to messaging using something like Slack, Google Chat, etc. But here's the key. You agree on response times here too, and you use simple indicators. At the Paperless Movement, we use an orange dot at the start of a message to signal, please reply when you finish your current task or meeting. A red dot means truly urgent. Interrupt your work immediately, it cannot wait. This keeps most communication asynchronous while handling real emergencies. And it's important to understand also what an emergency is. Phone calls and meetings become the exception, not the default. You only escalate to these when written communication generally won't work. Next, implement the agenda meeting protocol. Instead of scheduling a meeting every time something needs discussion, team members add topics to a shared agenda meeting item in your project management system. Then you have one weekly meeting where you discuss everything at once. This single change eliminated dozens of scattered meetings across the week for my team. Instead of 5 quick 15-minute syncs, you have one focused 60-minute meeting, maybe even up to 3 hours, where everyone comes prepared with their topics. But it will be only one meeting. Third, create a single source of truth for everything. When every project, task and decision lives in your project management system, people stop needing meetings to figure out what's happening and find information. They just check the single source of truth. This means using features like to review status on tasks. When someone finishes their work, they move it to review. The reviewer provides feedback right there in the comments. No meeting needed. The task itself becomes the conversation hub. When you implement these 3 protocols, your team can operate almost entirely asynchronously while staying completely aligned. Here's what changes when you implement this. You reclaim 5 to 6 hours per week. Your team actually completes their priorities instead of just discussing them. And you eliminate the constant context switching that kills productivity. So here's what you do starting this week. Establish your communication channels protocol. Set up your weekly agenda meeting. Start building your single source of truth. And if you want the complete implementation guide for the team communication system, check out our membership or our direct coaching programs where we help individuals and teams to succeed with everything that I described in this video and much more. Everybody, I hope this was interesting for you. If so, share it with your friends and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so I can catch you up in the next one.